So mate, obviously with your career, you've been to 3 games, I've only been to the 1.
Yeah.
But at that 1, I won the 200 free, and I'm looking at Paris. It's just 2 years down the line, and I'm trying to defend a 200 freestyle title. No one's ever done it before. Well, we don't think anyone's ever done it before, but I'm speaking to you in a position you've just defended and backed up one after the other. So, my question is, what kind of advice would you give either to me or to yourself before you went and defended your title?
Well, I think you've started, literally you've gone straight in and gone in at the high end, haven't you? For me, mine was a gradual build up. So London, I got 2 bronze, then I built up to Rio and getting bronze and 2 golds, and then gold in Tokyo. So I think the most important thing is just to stay in your own lane and keep doing what you're doing. Like I think obviously you know how to do it. You've done it now. But it's just you've got to adapt. You've got to make changes to where your body learns and over the years. But in terms of keeping to what you believe in is right, but also not letting things get too much in terms of expectancy will go up. Of course it will, which I'm sure you can expect that. What people think that you should be producing every single time, what people think of this and what people think of that, because you've got those golds now. I think it's just important to remember that every time you go into a comp, I try and think of it, any comp is exactly the same, no matter if it's a small domestic one or an Olympic Games. Everyone goes in clean slate, everyone's got the same target, and it's just about
everyone's looking at you, Olympic champion, thinking you set the world on fire. I've got world champs in 3-4 weeks. People are going to be thinking that, aren't they?
Yeah, but you can let people think that, can't you? If you have your mindset set on, do you know what? If my training's gone good, if my preparation's gone good, I can't control what anyone else does. Like in swimming, like you're in your own lane, you can't control however fast other people are going.
True.
You just got to do your job, haven't you? And I think
it's true.
I think that's one thing for me that's just helped me in terms of not worrying about anyone else is doing. Just focusing on how I can get the most out of myself at the time when I need to.
That's fair
but you know what you're doing anyway, you know what you're doing and how to move forwards. But you've got an exciting year coming up in terms of it's pretty busy. Really busy. How did you find the pressure of first Olympics in terms of going into this one? Obviously, did you feel like the pressure was off for this one and now you're feeling like it could be on for the next? Or?
I don't know, I feel like, because I get asked that a lot and people ask about the pressure, I think there's always pressure. I think you always put your own pressures on, whether it's a small meet or whether it's at trials. When I went to Olympic trials, I was like, I've got to book my ticket on the plane, everyone's expecting me to. You get to the Olympics, I'm like, well, I'm ranked number 2 in the world, I've got to get medals. And then going into the next one, it'll be, well, I'm defending Olympic champion, so I feel like people are expecting me to deliver. So it's always like your own pressures. That's what I find. And going into my first Olympics, there was still a lot of pressure because I wanted to perform. You got the whole country behind you, you got your family behind you. You don't want to put on a bad show. Everyone's rooting for you, and it's your kind of time to do the job. So it definitely was. It definitely was a pressurized environment. But like you said, I had faith in my training and I knew I'd done the work, and you just get out there and do a job, don't you, really?
The prep is like the most important bit, isn't it? If you're happy with what you've done and you can do any more, there's nothing more you can do, is there?
Exactly.
I remember last time I was chatting to you about, I think the last time we caught up and you was in like a really hard training phase.
I
just
remember
like really pushing for it. What's like the hardest bit, like if you talk about your build up towards a major comp or any comp, like what's that kind of look like?
What I've realised is the competitions are the easiest bit.
The
training's hard, it's rigorous, it's like day in, day out. Like I've started to look forward to competition so much more. It's like a break from training. So it's those last few weeks before you start resting down. It's like you're just pushing your body further and further, and the fitter you get, you've got to push yourself more to get more out of your body, and it's that really rigorous, back-to-back training, the high-level stuff. Like last time we met, that anaerobic block, it's just like really grueling. So that's definitely the hardest part, without a doubt. And if you can get through that, you can get through anything. Competition's never going to be as hard as training is.
Do you, out of interest, because basically the way I build up to comp, so we kind of do a roughly kind of 3-month build up. And like I say about it doesn't matter what comp it is, if it's a small comp or big comp or whatever, we do the same. Do you change it based on what comp it is, or do you keep it consistent?
It's pretty consistent. Like a 3-month block would be ideal, so you might do 3 weeks of aerobic work, so big meters in the pool, building the engine, and then 1 week recovery. 3 weeks of anaerobic work, so race pace, high-end stuff, short burst, but like over and over and over again, then week recovery, and then you might do 3 weeks of kind of a bit of a hybrid setup, and then a week of recovery, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're into tape of competition. So that would be like an ideal run-in, and we might do that twice a year. So in the lead up to trials in April, so from like January to trials, and then, you know, in the lead up to the majors in the summer. So that's kind of how it works, but you never get a clean cycle like that. There's always some disruption, the competitions along the way, there's injury, illness, whatever. So.
Well, yeah, based on that, because you got COVID, didn't you, twice?
Yeah.
Before Tokyo.
Yeah.
Do you, obviously that would have had a crazy knock-on effect. Do you feel like moving forwards now, do you kind of look back and take quite a bit of confidence that you has managed to do what you've done at Tokyo with that build-up, with getting COVID twice, with everything that had actually happened?
I think so. My coach definitely is a believer that, you know, he always said if he could do that off the back of a prep that was compromised, then imagine what you can do with a full-on prep. And I think he's got a point. And I think also, like, it just made me realise what I'm capable of. You never know what you're capable of until you kind of break that boundary again and break that boundary again. Like, you know, you never knew that, like, you were capable of defending an Olympic title and, you know, being one of the first men to ever do that until you went ahead and did it. So you never know where your ceiling is, almost. So the fact I was able to go and win the Olympics with that compromised prep means, okay, I know what I'm capable of. I know what my limits are, and it was something I never expected. So if I can, you know, who knows where the ceiling is almost. And
do you, if you was like looking at, obviously you've got Wales, you've got Commonwealths and everything coming up, like in terms of your mindset, it's interesting because I try as hard as I possibly can to not think about medals or anything that I want to try and get too much. I try not to think about the medal side of it too much. Like, what's your mindset in terms of that? Or are you like, because for me, I think about my job and try and do that. I know athletes thrive off of like, I'm going for gold and that's it. Like, where do you sit in that?
I think I find it hard to switch off from medals and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, that's why we do it, and that's what everything's dictated by. That's what, you know, success in our sport is dictated by. It's quite black and white. You either win or you don't. You either medal or you don't. So I find it quite hard to switch off from that almost. And I think it's like,
do you kind of use that to help you, though? Does that help you stay motivated in terms of, I want to get that gold? Like,
I think so. I think that's one of my main drivers. I want to recreate how I felt in Tokyo last year, and you know, that feeling of the work coming together, and you know, you're on the top of the podium. That's like the best feeling in any sport. So I think that is a drive. I don't get how you switch it off.
It's funny because literally, like, when you said about trying to recreate that feeling that you want to try and do that, that was exactly how I felt. And I literally remember in Tokyo, the exact moment of watching the girls. They won their medal, their team medal, and we was watching, and it made me like, it inspires you, but it made me feel so kind of nervous, and it made the competition feel so real, because that was the moment where it hit me that I thought, I want that again, because I know that exact feeling. So that's why I'm literally it's my job to do, and I just got to think about it. It's another routine, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, you know, people approach it in such different ways, especially the pressures and things like that. I mean, when you step up to the pommel horse, do you feel immense pressure on you? Do you feel like you've got all these eyes on you, you've got something to do, or is it just, right, do my job, and I know I've done this a million times? And
Tokyo, I felt like crazy pressure, pressure. Like, more than I've ever really experienced out of any competition I've ever done.
In a negative way, like, you worried it might knock you off?
And this time was like so apparent with that, because I remember my pommel horse final wasn't until 7 p.m. And I had the whole day where I was literally just doing recovery stuff. I was sitting in the Normatec, I was doing everything I could, literally. And in my mind, I was battling against myself, thinking the negatives that could go wrong, and trying to stay on the positives that can go right, and what that feeling would be like. Do you know what I mean? But it was, for me, it was literally trying to stay on the job and trying to stay positive, but it was so hard.
Especially not the day to think about it.
It's
such difficult. A mental game.
It really is, isn't it? I think that mental side of it's really interesting when you get to that level, because I see I wonder if it's the same in swimming. I'm sure it probably is, but I see so many gymnasts that are unbelievable in training.
But
then they fall to pieces in competition. Which is such a big shame.
Of course.